All right, so I got this pulled up.
Yes.
Now we're having an off mic conversation that we always bring on mic because that's it's family.
That's how we
Um,
do.
and this audio, this video was shared on Twitter, and is WION. She's an editor and a presenter on this network. I think her name is. Let me get her name because I want to shout her out. Her name is. She goes by the handle Palki, Palki, Palki Sharma. I'm imagining she must be Indian, but she could be Sri Lankan. All right. So I'm going to play it. Maybe we don't play the whole 6 minutes, but I think you'll get the point in the first 2 minutes of what is happening globally now. I feel like folk are finally waking the F up.
Yes.
You ready?
Yes, ma'am. Let's do it.
But what about the Western media? They too are reporting on the crisis, on the war, on the refugees. But they do not see hardships. They only see race, the color of your skin, the color of your hair. Let me show you exhibit number 1. This exchange happened on the BBC, the so-called Guardian of Unbiased Reportage. Listen to how their panel describes the refugees from Ukraine.
It's really emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed.
People with blue eyes and blonde hair. That is why the so-called expert on the BBC is emotional, not because the people are homeless, not because their country is being invaded, but because their hair is blonde. On social media, a lot of people are defending the BBC. They say it's a guest, not their anchor. Let me take you back to September last year. Another guest was speaking on the very same channel, South Asian expert Christine Fair. She called out Pakistan's links with the Taliban. Do you remember what the BBC presenter did? She shut her down. She said it was violating the channel's unbiased coverage. So exposing terror links is a violation. Blatant racism and white supremacy is fine. Gold standard indeed. Now for exhibit number 2, NBC News from the US. Listen to this.
These are not refugees from Syria. These are Christians. They're white. They're very similar.
Very similar to us. How so? Because the Syrian refugees are Muslims. Their skin is darker. Their hair is not blonde. So Europe does not want them. And remember, this is not being said at some white supremacy cult. This is happening on live television. Exhibit number 3, CBS News, another American broadcaster. Their reporter is appalled by the war, not because there is death and destruction, but because it is happening in Europe.
Like Iraq or Afghanistan, this is a relatively civilized, relatively European city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
So Iraq and Afghanistan are uncivilized countries. Their people are uncultured. Their regimes are irresponsible. So they deserve war. They deserve hundreds of bombs and years of occupation. What about Ukraine? According to CBS, no. Ukraine does not deserve war or hardships because Ukraine is civilized.
All right, you get the point. It goes on. Somebody also said something about it's not a third world. There's another journalist, it's the Ukraine. It's not like some third world country. Like, how did the third world, where did that come from? How did it? And I was on the radio today and